Hi, I'm Victor Margiotta, and this is the Community Show. My guest is Alain. He is the coordinator, publisher of the River Journal North magazine. He's been on a couple times, so he actually matches Casey Morbido on the amount of times he's been on the show, and my good friend John Testa. Casey, you're going to have to come on the show soon. I know you got a lot to talk about with Let It Shine and all the beautiful work you do with the food bank there in Verplank. So thanks. Alan, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me back.
I got to thank Jill Winecoop Davis for letting us use this space. The library is beautiful. There's so many things that are offered here. Kids programs, adult programs. It's endless. You can use the computer. It's Wi-Fi friendly. There's so many great things. So come to the library in Montrose, New York, and enjoy all the wonderful things they have to offer. Tell us about a little what you guys are involved with the library.
Sure. So, we work with them pretty regularly. They're a great advertising partner, but they also provide content for us every month, telling us what's happening, like some of the things you alluded to. Last month it was make sure you come to Passport Day. This month there's bingo coming up. So they always have something to share. And if you read River Journal North each month, you'll find something that's happening at the library.
And of course, you can go on the website, the Hendrick Hudson Library, and you find out all the wonderful things going on. So that's excellent. You're also involved with the Rotary and the Chamber of Commerce. So
I am personally, and as a business, we are. Chamber of Commerce, we are pretty active with them in terms of what we do at River Journal. In fact, we have an arrangement with them that we highlight all of their new members each month to really, they're just usually starting a new business, and it's a good way to get the word out to the community. So we do get involved, and we also go to all the networking events because you just really meet great people, and it covers Peekskill, Cortland, and Croton, so it's a pretty wide range of people. The Rotary, I'm not a member of the Rotary, but we actually are working with them on their fall festival, which happens this Saturday, I have a music production and promotion company, so we're managing their stage, all the bands that are performing. We also help them get sponsors to help underwrite the festival. So it's a great organization. In fact, one of my other partners is Daisy Jopling, who is a member of the Rotary, and so everyone is really connected. You work with one group, and it gets you in introductions to others, and it's just one big web of people working together.
That's key, networking. Again, with the library, to come here and to, communicate with people, to get out, to, make friends, it's such a great thing.
Yeah.
About networking, how do you find some of the stories that you get?
So it's a good question. A lot of them are people from the community contacting us, not for themselves, but on behalf, like, oh, my neighbor did this, or did you hear about this kid in the schools? We just got, someone reached out the other day. There's a program that the New York Giants football team sponsors where they award a Heart of a Giant award to various athletes, and one of the athletes this past month was from Ossining High School, which we cover in our other publications. Yeah. So we didn't know about it other than hearing about it through the athletic director reaching out and letting us know. So it's a great way to get content is by hearing from the people really what great things are happening in their own community. And as you know, we're 100% focused on local communities.
Yeah, and I love that all the stories are good. Going back to the Rotary, you did that story about the past presidents.
Right.
I thought that was excellent.
Yeah.
stated a lot of the stuff that they did in the community, what some of the programs that they pushed for, and then it's a great thing,
Yeah.
I feel like it inspires people to want to try and get involved,
Right. Yeah, and that was I can't remember if that was tied to an anniversary.
I think it might have
Yeah,
been. Yeah.
but there are a lot of past presidents who are still very active in the
Oh, yeah.
Rotary. I mean, they don't just
Disappear.
retire
Yeah, right.
after that. They stay
No,
involved.
they're still
Yeah.
they're still in the club.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, which is excellent. They have a community room here, the Constance Dykeman Community Room, where they have, looks like they're just changing the art now, so I don't know who's next. They present the art. But Richard Becker is doing something now at the town hall where he's putting art up. He actually brought on a curator to, meet with people that want to show their art.
Yep.
And, the writing is an art. How do you get some of your writers?
Well, I write occasionally, but I'm certainly not a writer at the same level as some of the folks that we work with. A lot of them almost all of them are local. Many of them have had careers where they were in journalism or in public relations or in other areas where they've been writing their whole lives.
Right.
And now they want to focus on the local community. Maybe they don't want to commute to New York City anymore, and they just want to stay local. They want to be involved in the community. So they know it's not going to be, nobody's making a fortune doing this, but they're staying engaged. They're finding stories. They know, just in talking to people that they're going to find a great story.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of calls from people who read the publication and then say, "Oh, are you looking for writers?"
Yeah.
And we ask for story pitches. Send us an idea, and more times than not, we get great ideas.
Yeah. Oh, there's been so many great stories. Now, on the cover of the last magazine, we had John
Sharp.
Sharp was on, who's moved his restaurant Gleason's to a new space.
Yep.
And good for him.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to go and check it out.
Yeah, it's gotten off to a great start. It's busy all the time. It's got a great location right next to the Paramount Theater.
Yeah.
So, which is one of those things where if the Paramount gets a great show, it's going to help the local businesses all around it. So, I wish him a lot of luck. And that spot has had its ups and downs, but it's a great location, and he's moved into a much bigger space, so good for him. I
love the fact that he is thrilled to be in Peekskill and what Peekskill's been doing for the businesses and for the community, I like Bird's Hall House. My favorite's the beet salad there. Oh my God, it's so good. So, and now the coffee house just did a renovation. Did a story on that. Yeah, and their renovation was interesting because they sort of crowdfunded the money that they raised for the renovation. Yeah. And anybody who donated is now, in essence, a part owner of the coffee shop. So it's such a community gathering place. It is. It makes a lot of sense that they did that. And well, the building, it's almost probably 200 years old. Yeah. So sooner or later, you got to do something. Yeah. And but I think they replaced all the floors. Had been there probably since the beginning. That's what they say. Yeah. So. And I think the company is called Honeycomb, and I guess you can borrow up to. I guess they borrowed up to 100,000. Yeah. But using the funds from some of the people, which is a great idea. Yeah. It's really worked out. That's good for them, yeah. And we talked a lot about exercise. Talked about the rowing club in Cortland Manor, actually in the town of Cortland. We talked about the running club in Buchanan, and there was an article on hiking. Yes, there was. There was, it was actually a great article because Larry Epstein is the writer, and he actually just moved up to Beacon, so he is sort of surrounded by all the different hiking areas. But he covered
hikes at all different levels of difficulty, and I've done a few of them, and I can vouch for some of the difficult ones that I will never do again. But even Anthony's Nose was one,
Yeah,
which is a
that's
great hike, and
yeah.
it's right here in the community. The one that I tried and will not again was Breakneck, which is appropriately named because I
Yeah.
thought I was going to break my neck
Breakneck.
several times. But yeah, so that's anything that sort of promotes the outdoors and sort of taking advantage
Yeah.
of the area that we live in. We love covering that kind of thing.
And that ties right in with an article you did about, what is it, glamping?
Glamping.
Oh, glamping.
Glamping, like glamorous camping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in fact, that's a new business started by a couple in Croton, and it's called the Canvas Experience. They have these amazing tents.
I know, I saw a picture.
Yeah, they're really unbelievable. I'm not a camper, but if I was going to go camping, it would definitely be glamping. And it's like they can create a kid's birthday party or a romantic, outing for two. I think they're starting to work with a couple of big outdoor parks like Ward
yeah,
Pound
I think
Ridge
they were
and Croton
doing
Point
Croton
Park.
Point, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a cool thing. If you haven't read the article,
Yeah.
check it out on our website. It really is.
Well, apparently they'll set it up right in your backyard
Right.
too, which
Yeah,
is pretty
they'll
cool.
host. You could host your own glamping party, or you could, they'll set it up in the Croton Point Park or in your So it's pretty cool.
The nice thing that they stated, they have a box that they put all the electronic devices in, lock it up, so you really feel like you're out in the wilderness. But it's a chance to connect with nature and with people, and not constantly be on your devices. I mean, I couldn't live without my phone. It's like, what did they do before you had washing machines, or what did you do before you had the telephone? Or now it's like, what did you do before you had a cell phone? I mean, it's kind of hard to live without now that you've got one.
Right.
But it's a good idea to get away from it now and then too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's not a requirement that you
No.
do that, but it certainly does get you thinking. Hey, maybe just for one night or a few hours.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it. And if your kids could do that, get off of their phones for a few hours, that would make for better family time at home too.
So the rowing club is actually right across the street from my house in the old schoolhouse in Verplank. And I hear them blaring the music and, come on, let's go. And so apparently they have like 15 machines up there that they practice the rowing on.
Right.
And they have a building down by the river in the Cortland Park there.
Yeah.
And they have a building at Lake Meehaw where they have a couple of, but that's great exercise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just being on the Hudson River, if you're not taking advantage of that, you're missing out on a treasure. We actually have an advertiser who makes handmade canoes that are just unbelievable. I've seen a few of them, but whether you go out in a rubber raft or a $10,000 handmade canoe, you're right here on the river. You might as well take advantage of it.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's not cheap to own a boat. It's cheaper to have a friend that owns a boat.
Right.
And actually got lucky. A friend of mine, Tom Bonamo, who's actually on the show. We aired it not long ago because I was making the squash blossoms, and it was that time of the year. So, but we were out. We were so lucky. The water was like glass. We got to open it up. We went all the way up to the Bear Mountain Bridge, and
Nice.
I jumped in. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they're making the river so much cleaner now. It's just.
Well, and they're making it more accessible too. In a lot of communities, they're erecting
Parks and,
parks
and areas
and
to
ways
get
to
into.
get into the river. So, and I know in Peekskill and down to Sleepy Hollow, they're really making it much more accessible for people to get in and enjoy it. So.
Well, we have to mention Frank Farrell, who, introduced the rowing club 10 years ago, and now, having it there at the Cortland Park, it gives people access to the river, and it's something to do. You could actually join. They have kids from 5 years old to, you could be 80 years old. I think the deadline was in September to join this year. So if you go online, and you could join, the rowing club in the future. So
Sounds good.
so you had the Battle of the Bands.
We did. We worked with the Tarrytown Music Hall
Yes.
to create to help them run their Rock the Hall, they call it, which is basically a Battle of the Bands event. We had probably 30 or 40 bands submit entries.
Wow.
We had a great group of judges that we narrowed it down to 5 finalists, and they all performed. They each performed about a 20, 25-minute set.
Cool.
It was a great range of different types of music, from country to hard rock to acoustic guitar, singer-songwriter, and we picked the winner. It was a band from Irvington, New York, called Divining Rod, and they won the prize of being the winner of the year. But what they really won was the opportunity to perform at the first ever Sleepy Hollow Music Festival,
Cool.
which is taking place in June of 2024 in Kingsland Point Park. We're producing that festival for the village of Sleepy Hollow.
All right.
So yeah, stay tuned. We can't announce who our
No, not right
headliners
now.
are yet,
Okay.
but there'll be 2 or 3 bands that you'll probably recognize their names. We're going to try to cover bands from the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s to current.
Yeah.
We'll also have local bands, at least 3 or 4 local bands that perform around the area. So it'll be a really good mix of great music, family activities, food trucks, beer garden,
Right.
the whole 9 yards.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but it's, we really want to create something that will have staying power, that will be an annual event. In the case of Sleepy Hollow, everybody thinks of that village at Halloween for the legend of Sleepy Hollow and the Headless Horseman and all that. But part of the reason they engaged with us to do this festival was to have more visitors come to the village in June, off season, and if that can help people start thinking about the area for more than just coming for Halloween, then I think it's a big win for the village, the businesses, the whole community.
Yeah. Speaking of Halloween, I guess that blaze started down in Cortland Manor.
Yeah.
Or Van Cortland Manor, actually.
Right. Yeah. Well, from Irvington up to Cortland,
they have.
It is just crazy Halloween activity. I was talking to somebody just the other day, the Tarrytown Halloween Parade, they get 10,000 or 12,000 people show up, and it's not the hall of Manhattan where they have those kind of parades.
That kind of space, right?
Yeah, but people love it, and
it is a lot of fun.
yeah, it brings the whole community together. The people who run it, which is part of the Rotary, they encourage individuals, businesses to create their own floats for the parade to really make it feel like it's a hometown thing. And she reached out to me today and she said, I think River Journal should have their own float. Like, I guess that's on my agenda.
Yeah, right. Oh, brother. What's it going to be? Just maybe a giant head of you?
Yeah.
I always think of,
Animal House?
Animal House with the float.
Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So Daisy was supposed to be on the show, but she had to get out of town. Where is she?
She left for the Middle East and to also go back. She's from London. I think she's going to spend some time in London.
Okay.
We are working with Daisy to produce a show at the Tarrytown Music Hall on October 29th.
Excellent.
It's she does a show where she performs the music of The Who.
Wow.
So it's, it's a rock and roll violin show, and she has a whole backing band, of course.
Right.
And one of the things that's really cool is she's done the show in Peekskill at the Paramount. She always works with the local school district to get kids that will perform in the show with her, whether that's playing instruments or a chorus. So they'll play on a couple of songs, and it's a great opportunity for these kids who either are trying to get into music, or maybe they've already established themselves a little bit, but to perform on a stage like the Tarrytown Music Hall is pretty awesome. And all the money that's raised goes to the Daisy Jopling Foundation, which goes back into funding programs for kids to get music education, to learn how to play instruments. So it's a really, a great event for people to go see, but it also all works full circle. So the music and the money helps the kids who wouldn't otherwise be able to maybe afford an instrument or take lessons or that kind of thing.
Right. And the sooner you learn, the better, because the older you get, it's tough to learn a new thing.
Oh, I know. We produce a lot of concerts and festivals, and people always ask me if I play an instrument, and the answer is no.
Yeah,
and I
know.
can barely play the radio, much
Yeah.
less an instrument. So
Well, I had a chance to play piano, but I couldn't get into it.
you've
I
got
don't
to
know.
stick to it.
I know. I wish I did. Daisy does an incredible job. She's helped, they said, over 6,000 kids, get, and they say that, learning an instrument also, expands the mind, but it helps their, creative ability, and it pumps up their schoolwork too.
Right. And, self-esteem and, anything where you can excel, and also you have to really dedicate time.
Well, that's the other
Yeah,
thing.
so you got to show some real initiative to stick with it. And what's interesting about Daisy's foundation is she's helped thousands of kids, and it's not just locally. She's worked with kids in Europe, in other parts of the world, in other parts of the United States as well. So she's really branching out to help as many kids as possible.
So we got to thank Daisy. Thank you, Daisy, for all that work you do. Really appreciate it. We know it's doing a great thing, so keep it up. What else is going on?
So let's see what else we're doing. We have a couple of other music events that we're working on. We're for the second straight year, we're working with the Ossining Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, they have a spooktacular event for Halloween. We're also working with them on a blues festival called Up the River, and they say that it's the first blues festival in Ossining since B.B. King played at Sing Sing Prison. So I can't verify if that's true, but that's what they're telling me. And that's going to be in Ossining. We're helping them with that event. So we're really, we're engaged in creating our own events, but we also work with a lot of other community organizations to help them with events, either maybe make them bigger, make them better, take some of the work off of their plate so they can concentrate on other things.
Yeah. And it also gives you a little more ideas about what to do on your next festival.
Yeah, and story ideas too. I mean, when when we're one of the things that really helps is having access to the media property to help promote the festival, and then from the festival or the Battle of the Bands or whatever it is, we then have more content for the magazine, for the publication.
I've been trying to get a hold of Bruce. He's busy, huh?
Bruce is very busy. He's actually just finishing up a show called Dracula in Nyack, and before that he was doing a show.
I saw that.
Yeah, with Maury. He's going to kill me. I don't remember.
That's all right. We'll think of it.
Yeah, but so he was in, and that show was very successful and got extended. So he had a couple of other weekends, and then of course, as the editor and editorial director, we keep him pretty busy at River Journal.
Yeah,
So
good. All right, we got to plug the Buchanan Runners Club, and that's Stella Falco. Hi, Stella. It's an excellent organization. They have something coming up, or did it come up already?
I think they just had it this maybe this past weekend or the weekend before. We actually connected with them last year. Stella reached out to us. She was very persistent to get some promotion, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, you really have to do that. I mean, people ask us all the time, how do I get featured in your publication? Well, first is, reach out, be prepared with something that you think people would be interested in. But we actually started, and last year we worked with her. We were a sponsor of the event. We thought it was a great event, and she came back to us this year and said she wanted to make sure people knew about it. And I think it's bigger. It's certainly bigger than it was last year, and it seems like it's one of those events that's going to get bigger and better.
You have to exercise, some form of exercise. They say even 20 minutes of walking 3 times a week is like the minimum, but it's something. It's so important. They had some video I saw where they were showing the high school kids from back in like the 1950s, where they were, they were all in great shape, and they were, climbing things, and it was like unbelievable, the shape they were in. I think we need to try and get back to that,
Yeah, I have to say some days I feel like the only walking I do is from my office desk to the refrigerator, because I have a home office, but that's about it. We were, one of the things we were talking about before the show started was the gentleman in Croton who we're going to be featuring next month, which is exercise I wouldn't do myself, but he climbs down very deep caves, and it was a global story. He got stuck 300 meters, I believe, below the surface, and he got sick, and it took 2 weeks, I believe, to get him nursed back to health. And we got a great story. We reached out to him and said, hey, River Journal would like to talk to you. And he was like, oh yeah, I get that paper. And
that's awesome.
So, and the funny thing is, he was healed and better, back to health, and he's back in another cave somewhere.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah.
That once would have been enough.
Yeah. So.
Alan, thanks so much for coming on. And thank you so much for that magazine. It's awesome.
Well,
I loved all the community stuff, and I read it every week. I actually once a month. But just real quick, we only have less than a minute. How's the magazine across the river doing?
So we actually closed it down. We published 3 issues. It was doing well, and we loved creating it, but we have so much to do on this side of the river that we couldn't get over there enough to really have a presence. So we figured, let's just stick to Westchester and the river towns.
And you're doing a great job with that. So.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right. I'm Victor Margiotta. This is the Community Show. There's so many ways to get involved in the community, so please don't complain about what's going on. Get involved, do something. Join a club, come to the library, get involved here. Read the River Journal North. It's excellent. There's so many opportunities that they present in there. So thanks for watching, and have a good night.